This is the reason why the president responded the way he did. It is very clear this video was put out without any reason behind it. There was no red flag to put this out. It was done clearly for fundraising, number one.
Broken the law?
Let me finish, and then you can yell at me if you want to.
Tonight on Abby Phillip, we have a front row seat as these two MAGA pundits do what they do best: not telling the truth.
Death by hanging. After months of lecturing the left about rhetoric, Donald Trump floats the execution of several Democrats, mainly for telling the military to follow the law. 6 Democrats who served in the military or intel community released a video urging service members to disobey any illegal orders from the administration.
You have sitting members of the United States Congress who conspired together to orchestrate a video message to members encouraging them to defy the president's lawful orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
They're advocating for members of the military to refuse legal orders, and the video clearly states otherwise. Why do you think that this really kind of got underneath the skin of the president and the White House?
I don't know, but it's unacceptable. And I think it's a time for everybody, no matter what your political background is, to call it what it is. I mean, the president of the United States is calling for the execution of members of Congress. It is dangerous. It is unprecedented. It is bad for our national security. It is divisive, and it's amplifying what is already a very dangerous environment across this country. We've all talked around this table and other places about the need to bring down the temperature because of the threat level to everybody in this country. He just turned it up to 100, and these folks are now in immediate danger. So is everyone else around them. So is everyone in Congress. And I think it's a day that has our enemies celebrating. Our children are watching, and I think this is of the utmost seriousness. And it's a time for people to put their political differences aside and call it for what it is.
Tim?
I actually think, and Paul, I agree with you, we've got to bring down the temperature, but I do think it's interesting. The president did not call for anyone to be hanged or be executed. You're talking about a person, and I find the irony in this, who had an assassination attempt against his life, who we saw conservatives get assassinated with Charlie Kirk. And so the president would never call for this to actually happen. This is political theater is what it is. And you talk about our enemies around the world and what they see. What they've actually seen is members of Congress tell members of the military to defy the orders of the commander-in-chief. That's what our enemies actually
People
saw.
can see it
and
for
so
themselves.
The president didn't call for that. You can't show one of these tweets where
Wait. Actually, Tim, hold on.
That's a misrepresentation.
That part I'm going to stop you on.
Political theater at its
We
best.
did just, in fact, show the tweets where he did do that. He not only called it, seditious conspiracy, but
that's what he called it.
Amplified a tweet that said that they should be punished by hanging. He did that.
The president of the United States did not call for members of Congress.
Okay, but he called them traitors. Let's say that you agree he called them
I guess
traitors.
in your world,
he called them traitors.
But why? But hold on, Tim. Why would he amplify a message saying that those members should be punished with hanging? Why?
What the president's tweet said, he simply called it a seditious act.
But you're not answering. You're not answering
members of Congress.
Tim, you're not answering my question. Why would he amplify that message? Why would the president of the United States?
Why would members of Congress
do that?
Where they have an all-time low rating on the
why
American
would the
people
president
having
of the?
confidence
I'm going to
in
ask
members
you
of
again.
Congress?
Why would the president of the United States amplify a message that says explicitly that they should be punished by hanging?
The president, and I'm going to say again, Abby, the president of the United States did not call for any members of Congress to be hanged. He absolutely did not.
This Tim Parrish guy is conducting a masterclass in the MAGA pundit double standard. He said the president didn't call for anyone to be hanged, so this is political theater. But then in the same breath, he's invoking Charlie Kirk as proof that we live in a dangerous political climate. So when the violence is aimed at conservatives, it's deadly serious. But when it's aimed at Democrats, it's political theater. How does he say that with a straight face?
That's like calling George in today's world.
Without getting lost in the sauce here, he is amplifying threats to members of Congress. However you cut it, if you're explaining, you're losing. And I think everybody who's objective here can see what this was. It's not good for our country.
Isn't this the very same thing that a few months ago Republicans were saying Democrats were doing, except that now the president's doing it and it's okay?
I go back to the video. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now if it wasn't for a ridiculous video that was put out by Democrats telling people in uniform to defy the President of the United States of America.
But that's not what they said.
That's a fact.
That's not what they said.
I was real quiet for a long time. That was like a long time for me. So let me say point two here.
We just laid out that the video says you should not follow illegal orders. Do you think that members of the military should follow illegal orders?
I think it's pretty clear that this was an obvious video that was put out without any issue around it, saying if you don't like what the president's doing,
that's literally
you don't
not what
have
it
to.
said.
It literally. I go back to what Mark said. I go back to what Mark said on this channel. By the way, after he sent out a fundraising email, which is the reason why this is a total ball of crap to start with. This was a fight they wanted with the president. He's sending out fundraising emails tonight while claiming, "Oh my gosh, I'm afraid of my life. Please send me money for re-election." If this is such a terrible moment in political history, you don't send out fundraising emails saying, "Please send me money," after I said to people in military uniform, defy the orders of the President of the United States of America. That's what he said in his email.
No, it is not.
Did you look at the email tonight?
Yes, I did. You're not
he
telling the truth about the video.
He said, "Give me money tonight," while saying, "I'm afraid for my life."
Because the president attacked him, and also Donald
Trump. No, he attacked the President of the United States of America by telling people in the military to not obey the President of the United States of America.
I know you want to make 1 + 1 = 7. He did not do that.
Can I say something about the video?
The chronic interrupter on the left, his entire argument boils down to because Mark Kelly sent out a fundraising email, that makes the whole video cynical and illegitimate. On top of that, he keeps lying about what the video actually says. It's maddening. They watch the same video on air and he still just barrels ahead with the same talking point like an insane person.
Hold on a second. We just played for people at home exactly what the video says.
Yeah, I've watched it.
You cannot sit here and lie about that same video. That doesn't work.
So the
video did not say that they should defy the orders of the president. It said that you cannot follow illegal orders. That's in the military code of justice.
Can I say something? An example of one.
The U.S. military's chief lawyer is actually making the case that bombing the Venezuelans could be illegal. There's actual things happening right now.
Can I address the video? Can I address the video,
some
Debbie?
E3 that is sitting on a post is not going to defy. The service members are not dumb. Every time they take their oath, they know that they are supposed to obey the orders of those appointed over them. They don't need members of Congress to go on TV in a political
The video itself.
You don't have to.
Just 1 second.
The video itself, in my view, was unnecessary.
Right.
Okay, you could even argue it was imprecise. Hold on, let me finish. It was sloppy. I don't think you need to tell members of the military that they have an obligation to resist an illegal order. They already know that.
Right.
But by putting out that video does not warrant a response from the president, calling you a traitor and calling for your execution.
Okay.
This video
that is the difference here.
This video would not have been necessary if the president hadn't completely replaced senior military leadership and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the people that we could look up for. It wouldn't be necessary if he hadn't gone in at the beginning of his service and fired so many JAG attorneys that tell you if something is illegal or an illegal or illegal order. It wouldn't be necessary if the president hadn't fired inspectors general, who are the police of the military, or if he hadn't called every single high military commander in to tell them that their biggest enemy was going to be domestic and at home, and that if they didn't like it, they could quit. The reason they did this video was to remind younger soldiers who might not have someone in command that they are not responsible to follow illegal orders. The U.S. law actually requires military members to disobey unlawful laws. No, they do not necessarily know that. And the thing is,
you can't insult.
I cannot insult members of
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys. We are all talking at the same time. Let's all stop talking.
Abby's in charge.
Let's all just stop talking.
Abby's in charge.
For 1 second, okay? Let's stop talking for 1 second, including you, Lee. Just a second, okay? We take your point. Tim, you're saying it does not need to be said.
Well, what I'm saying is I can't let my colleagues sit here and say members of the military are too stupid to understand that they don't need to obey the orders of the members of the military. Know this. It's in their oath every time they get promoted.
If I'm an 18-year-old soldier and my president, who I have had in my life since I was 9 years old, tells me to shoot a protester, which this president did do in his first term, and Mark Esper said, no, we cannot do that, sir. If I'm an 18-year-old soldier and my president tells me to do that, They are saying, as former military, as people who have also made an oath to the Constitution, an oath to this country, who are now sitting members of Congress, we are reminding you that you do not have to obey, and it's on the screen, this big, bigger than their head, an illegal order.
That's a very dangerous precedent to set.
Can I just?
We're going to hit pause on this conversation and continue it when we come back. As we were just discussing, I mean, there's a disagreement here about whether this needed to be said in the first place. But let's say that it didn't need to be said and that military members know already that they should only follow legal orders. And why on earth would the president then pivot and threaten those members of Congress for saying something that was so plainly obvious?
Go ahead.
Can I just say what I think is so odd about this is, what is the problem to Donald Trump in saying don't do illegal things? I mean, why is that any threat to the president? You would think that most presidents are actually not planning to do anything illegal. And let me just finish. And I guess I would just come back to this fact, which is that his own Pentagon lawyers right now are disputing the legality of the Venezuelan just shoot downs of boats. And so I think the idea that the far right is saying, what could you imagine? And I would disagree with you, Paul. I think this is totally wrong. When we have a current situation in which the president's own lawyers, people who work for the Pentagon, are saying it's possibly illegal that these actions are happening. Now,
let me ask you a question.
Just let me finish. Imagine 6 months or a year from now.
Hold on, Paul. I do want to get.
They weren't specific because who knows what will be next.
Let me say this. Let me say.
Hold on a second. Go ahead.
Who knows what will be next?
Nira, hang on a second. Let me let Ben.
This is the reason why the president responded the way he did. It is very clear this video was put out without any reason behind it. There was no red flag to put this out. It was done clearly for fundraising. Number one.
Broken the law.
Let me finish, and then you can yell at me if you want to. It was clearly done, premeditated, fundraising. You got emails going out at 6 o'clock on the day this happened. That was clearly orchestrated and pre-planned.
Hold on, Nira.
Again. And the second thing is, you have a president that's pretty used to Democrats saying, we don't pay attention to laws. We don't enforce laws with ICE. We don't enforce laws with the border. We don't enforce laws with anything we don't like with Donald Trump. So this was a wink and a nod to military officials that if you don't like Donald Trump, you don't have to follow anything that he says that you don't really want to. And oh, by the way, the caveat, the best part about this is, then when he responds, we will literally be so shallow because there is no issue here. We're just trying to raise money off of it.
But Ben,
that's it. This is a money game.
Ben, if this is just a fundraising ploy by Democrats, why is Trump calling it a seditious conspiracy? Why is he likening it to treason? Why is he suggesting that
when you suggest that military leaders should go against the president of the United States of America? Well, it was the Democratic Party.
That's not what they said.
I'm just taking you at your own
and I'll
if it's a fundraising ploy,
don't expand.
Why is the president then acting as if this is a conspiracy to overthrow the government?
Abby,
but wait. We were all here on January 6th when he called the people breaking into the Capitol patriots. How do those things?
He said go peacefully.
He called them patriots.
He said go peacefully.
Ben,
the majority of the people there, he believes.
You and I are talking about different things. We are talking about different things. In the moment, as they were breaking into the Capitol, Donald Trump released a video from the White House, and he called those insurrectionists patriots. He proceeded to then pardon them. How can that same man turn around and say a video that you just called a fundraising ploy is a seditious conspiracy?
Are they raising money off of it?
But
it's not because I say it. It's because Mark Kelly sent out a fundraising email. I didn't do that. Mark did.
Can I take a Mark to a point that I think is important?
All right, go ahead.
So sitting here in between this as it continues to go on, this is how our military feels right now. This is how the men and women of our military feel now. They feel like they're in the middle of this every single day.
Don't put out the video.
I'm still talking. And that they're a political chew toy in the middle of this madness. But the president has a unique responsibility to set the command climate, to set the tone, to set an example. He has to be more careful with his language, especially if he talks about things like execution.
So do Democrats.
Can you please let me finish? I show you respect.
Ben,
show me
please.
respect.
Okay,
That's what needs to happen in this country. And the president has to show respect. He has to show honor. He has to show integrity. Yesterday, he called a woman piggy. Now he's calling an astronaut who's a Navy veteran a traitor. He has to be more careful and precise with his language, especially because he's a commander.
Democrats call him a Nazi.
He has a unique responsibility. He is the president.
They called him a Nazi and a fascist.
And he is setting the
celebrating when he got shot. Don't lecture us about words, please.
All right. The sitting vice president also called him a Nazi. So.
This is exactly how these bad faith MAGA guys operate. They will ignore the question being asked them, pretend not to understand basic concepts, and pivot to side issues they can argue on, like in this case, bringing up the fundraising emails over and over again as if that's like a gotcha. And then they'll accuse everyone else of being hysterical when Trump amplifies literal calls to hang members of Congress. Guys like this are only there to convert any situation into a superficial talking point that fits their preloaded narrative. And that's what genuinely scares me. These aren't some internet randos. These are people on national television arguing these points, and people are watching and listening, and some people, I suppose, are believing them. At some point, you have to ask, do guys like this understand they're helping normalize an authoritarian takeover of the United States? Or are they so deep up their own ass that they're genuinely not seeing what they're doing? I honestly don't know which is worse, knowing it's dangerous and doing it anyway, or being too stupid or too tribal to recognize what you're defending. There really is nothing these guys won't defend. Trump could, in fact, shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and these guys would find a way to defend it. Honestly, if Trump weren't 79 with obvious health issues, I'd be a lot more worried about how far this could go. The 2026 midterms can't come soon enough. Leave me a comment if you have anything to say, and if you made it this far, like the video, leave an emoji so I know that you made it this far. That'll be our little secret code, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye guys.